Okay, we are live.
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hey, everybody. We
Today we
can.
are joined by Wade Fullingim of Wade Fullingim Golf Pro Extraordinaire,
Trying to be.
and yeah. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about business and a little bit about the COVID-19 and how it's affecting businesses like Wade's and everybody's, and so we can get some tips, tricks, and how to move forward out of this, right? So. Um, I think first things first, Wade. I guess tell us, how's the family? How's Tiffany and Brock? How's everybody holding up in this?
We're doing pretty good. It's definitely tough being a parent and both working from home, especially when he's 1.5 years old. I mean, he's 1.5. He's needy. That's just part of it. So it's tough because usually I watch him in the mornings, and so while she can do her conference calls, little backstory: Tiffany's a pre-K teacher, and they're having to do every morning at 8:30 a conference call with all the teachers, the principal, and then she's got to call parents. She's got to get packets ready for kids, and so she's getting that done in the morning. And so I'm watching Brock, and so I really can't get any work done in the morning. So usually around 11, 10:30 to 11, she'll usually take them on and she'll feed them and put them up and down. And so that's when I can start to get some work done. So it's tough. It's doable. It is tough though, because we're not going to send them to daycare for sure. It'd be a lot easier if we could, but we just can't.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but we're making do. It could be worse.
It could be worse. Absolutely. I think the sun's shining, and so we can.
Hey,
We
on
can
the
all
bright
be.
side, I've got more yard work done in the past 2 weeks than I have in like 2 years.
Oh, man. So, tell us a little bit, Wade, about your business, kind of what you do, what makes it work for you, and what makes you unique in your space.
So what I do is I teach golf for a living. So poor me, right? I get to do golf for a living. So it's a great business. I really do love what I do. I've never thought of it as a job. I mean, I'll work 12 hours a day and it doesn't bother me just because I love teaching. I love the game. As far as my business, I'm the director of instruction at Four Golf. So I run all the instruction components when it comes to Four Golf. We do club fittings there. We do camps, clinics. We have one of our big programs is called Junior Athletic Club. Unfortunately, that has been delayed until all this clears up. But it's a program designed to develop athletes first, golfers second, and so we can help some of these kids off to college golf. I specialize more in helping, I guess more of my passion is I like helping kids that want to play at a high level, whether that be college golf or professional golf. I mean, I love teaching adults too. I mean, I love just teaching the game in general, but that's kind of where I've been going with it. So I have lots of high school players who play college golf. I have one girl that's going to play D1 somewhere. She's a junior. She's already got several colleges looking at her. When she came to me, she was shooting in the 90s. Now she's shooting in the mid to low 70s. So she's killing it.
Wow.
But yeah, as far as my business, I do private lessons. We'll do 9 hole. We'll do on-course playing lessons. I have memberships I sell. That's kind of the main way that I structure my business is I do memberships.
Well, cool. And so, like, what's going on in your business today, just in general, without the virus going through? What does your day-to-day operations look like?
Well, since I have lost a few clients because for good reasons, some people say they're out of the job or whatever. So lost that income, and then I lost the income from our junior program. So you just got to make do with what you got. And so what I'm doing now is I'm doing online lessons. So I started off with something super cheap, like $5, because I think a lot of people are scared to give anybody money online that they don't really know. And so $5 is like, okay, I'm willing to take a chance with $5. So in hopes, what I'm going to get these guys to do that have done it for $5 is to give me a testimonial. So I'm going to use that and say, hey, do you mind shooting me a little testimonial of what you thought about my online instruction? And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to post that on my social media so people can see that, hey, this guy's legit. This guy actually does a great job, anyways. And so my price is now $20. I'll eventually go up a little more than that because $5 and $20 isn't quite enough, especially for how long it takes to do it. It doesn't take as long as a normal lesson, but it takes about 20 minutes. But we hit that wall, and it's just you can either sit there and gripe about it and complain about it, or you can just figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, we talk about a lot of the mentality you take into these things. Are you a victim of the circumstance, or are you a victor? Are you going to lead the charge through and actually get some stuff done?
Right. Well, I mean, there's times you might want to think like, shoot, my income's about to go way down because I don't have very good job security. Not at all. So my wife has better job security than I do. So luckily she's getting paid. But no, you just can't roll over and give up. You got to figure it out. Especially when you got a wife and kid. I mean, if you're by yourself, I mean, you still got to figure it out. But especially when you got a wife and kids, you can't sit there and roll over.
For sure.
Absolutely. So how did you come up with the idea of doing online instruction?
It's always been something I've wanted to do. There's a guy in California. His name is George Yankus, and he does lots of online videos. Now, I've wanted to do this way before I heard about him, but this guy's killing it, mainly because he's got a big presence. He's got a couple of tour players that have made it big, and so he charges $100 an hour or $100 an online lesson per lesson. Yeah, it's nuts. So he makes, or no, it's $200. I believe it's $200 for an online lesson. So he makes like $40,000 a month just on online lessons, or more. Maybe it's more than that. So, but online lessons can work. It's obviously not as good as working in person, but nobody else has got anything better to do but sit at home and try to work on their golf game. And so I'm like, why can't I just look at their golf swings? I've done it before, because with some of my students, when they go off to tournaments or whatnot, they'll send me a swing of their video. I'll look at it, see if they need any help, and then I'll send them a drill or something. But
wow.
It's something that can work. People are doing it. It's not something new. People have been doing it forever, and so as technology's gotten better, it's become easier and easier to do it. So the hardest thing is building a presence and getting people to trust you. That's the hardest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the technology you use in your swing training and things like that, because having a good personal relationship with you, I know that you use all kinds of cool gadgets and gear for your lessons, right?
Yeah, dude, you just opened up a can of worms right there. I'm a tech. So as far as technology, I have a very expensive unit called TrackMan. It's a launch monitor that tracks the golf ball. That thing costs $25,000 just to own that. So, but that's one thing that sets me aside of a lot of people that took the leap of faith. I bought the TrackMan. It's been totally worth it. iPhones, man. iPhones, like, even when I was little, like, iPhones couldn't even record it. You couldn't even record on phones when I first got a phone, but then you got to where you could, record at 30 frames. Well, 30 frames per second is not good for a swing video. And then finally, the iPhones came out with videos that can video at 120 frames, because that's what you got to video at. So between an iPhone, that makes a big difference. The next big thing is audio. So right here on my hip, I got a wireless microphone. Number one thing is you have to have good audio. I mean, even if the video quality is not just perfect, it's not the end of the world, but if the audio quality is bad, everybody's going to skip it. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just like that. Hey, so I actually have one of those, too, on my desk when I do when I share my screen. So that's something I use as well. But, yeah, you have to have good audio is number one. So I bought this wireless mic system. It was kind of expensive, but, like, the audio is perfect. It never loses connection. It's a Rode Link. Anyways, and I have two of them. So, like, if me and one of my partners, JJ, ever do any kind of video, we both mic'd up and the audio quality is good. Because with golf instruction, like us, like, you could have a mic right in front of you and the audio would sound fine. Even the iPhone mic is not awful. But, like, when I turn this way, like, it's probably harder to hear me now, right? Because I don't have this mic connected to my phone. Actually, I guess you can hear me because I do have an ear headphones in. Yep. But if I turn away, I don't want the audio quality to drop. So it's those little things, like, even when I do my online lessons, I put this mic on so they can hear me and that I can show them all my stuff, and audio quality never drops. And so any other technology, I mean, I have a PC that I use to run my TrackMan. Pretty much, it has to have a pretty robust PC to run that. And I'm a Mac guy. I love Mac, so I wish Mac could run my TrackMan.
Don't say that in front of Philip.
Oh,
Hey, I
I've nothing
like
but
Macs.
Oh, okay.
hey, PCs are good. I mean, they can do so much more. You can get so much more for less. Mac's operating system is like super simple, super easy. That's the reason why I like it the most. It's so user friendly. And I'll tell you what. Here's the reason why I'm an Apple guy is because when I shoot a video on my phone, I can AirDrop it to my computer, I can edit it on my Mac, and then I can post it. Versus, it is a pain in the butt to take video from an iPhone and put it on a PC. It's a pain in the butt.
Absolutely.
Complete pain in the butt.
I know that firsthand.
I mean, it's so frustrating. And so, like, you don't need to go out and buy a, $500, $600, $1,200 camera when you got one in your hand. I mean, the quality on the iPhones are crazy. You can use apps like Pro Movie, and it pulls out more of your phone, so you can make the video quality better. And then you can just post it, or you can just AirDrop it to your computer, and that's where you can do your editing. Because like, there's no other way I have found, and I've tried everything to move it over to PC. Because my PC works really good as an editing computer, but is not user friendly to move stuff over. The only way you can do it is if you have a camera that has an SD card. I mean, if you're going to use a PC, you have to use cameras that use SD cards. That's the only thing you can use.
So
Yeah,
I'll help you out real quick.
Go ahead.
Google Drive. You just drop it in there. Put the video.
Google Drive works.
Google Drive,
but
or if you have Google,
good internet speed.
If you have Google Photos, it'll also do that automatically for you, and also back up all your pictures for free.
No. If you're in a place with like great internet and you can get that thing to upload, yeah, that works. Right? But let's just say I do a 4K footage, and let's say it's 2 minutes. Well, 4K footage for 2 minutes is going to be like 8
that's
gigs.
pretty big.
And so that's going to take forever to transfer. And so AirDrop will move that in probably 2 minutes or less.
Yeah, it's just using Wi-Fi direct connection, I believe.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's just my workflow. Like, nothing against PC. I love PC. I use it. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen my PC, but it's decent. I like it.
So
I have, yeah.
So
and it's definitely decent.
what are we looking at right now? It looks like you've got a little swing lab going on.
Yeah. So we bought a house back in December, or I guess January is when we finally closed on it. And this house had a shop in the backyard. And so it had all of our stuff in here. So when all this crap started going on, I spent 4 days getting all the boxes out, putting them where they need to go. And so I hung that's called an impact screen. So what that is like, if you have a projector, you can project onto that screen and you can do the golf simulator stuff, kind of like your background, right?
Oh.
You can play golf courses on there. I can play St. Andrews. I can play Pebble Beach. I can play all sorts of golf courses on here, and I can have it streaming onto here. I don't have a projector in here yet, but I just have a TV over here to my left right here, but I'll stream it on that TV. But instead of hanging a net in here, I just hang the impact screen. I mean, I'll hit a shot. You just hit it into it, and it'll catch it.
That's neat.
I need one of those. That would be
Now
awesome.
I am just short enough so that I can swing it here. If I was any taller, it would not work.
I never thought about that.
It's not a tall enough ceiling. Really, if you're going to build a simulator, you need about a 9.5 foot ceiling.
So,
and the other side of that screen is your TrackMan, and that again is just a very valuable piece of equipment for you, because it does track using radar and all kinds of technology, and so you actually get really accurate swing information off of that, and ball trajectory and everything like that. So you can hit it into that screen, and it's a really cool little deal.
This stupid little thing is $25,000, believe it or not.
oh my god.
Well, it's not just
Two
this.
hands.
I mean,
Hold it with 2 hands.
2 hands. No, the software is really where they're really good at. Like, this unit's good. The good thing about TrackMan software is that, or TrackMan company really, is they don't come out with new units very often. This unit, not necessarily this unit itself, but this model is, I think, 5 years old. So they haven't got a new model in 5 years. So it holds its value. So if I were to resell this thing, I could probably resell it for $19,000 to $20,000 still. So it still holds its value. So really where the company's worth a lot is their customer service and then their software. I mean, they have probably the best software. I'm a technology nerd, and if the software doesn't work, I hate it. For example, my coworker, he uses FlightScope, and I give him a hard time all the time because FlightScope software, the unit itself is not bad, but the software is awful.
Yeah. Well, and I've watched the TrackMan software, and you using it. I mean, it gives you all kinds of data for that swing, like club face angle and all kinds of stuff. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so when I look at a golf swing, we have to gather some data. It kind of depends on what the player wants. Really go, So if let's just say I have a guy he says he's hitting blocks. He's blocking it to the right. So if this would be straight, he's blocking it to the right. So if I have a guy that struggles blocking it to the right, it could be as simple as that he's swinging too much from in to out and he needs to get it more down the line. So what we can use is TrackMan will tell us that his path is probably, let's say the target line is 0 degrees. His path may be 3 degrees right, or let's say it's 5 degrees right. That would be more like a normal swing, or normally what I would see. Well, we would need to take that 5 degrees and shift it left 3 degrees. So just TrackMan gives us a validation of kind of what's going on in real time. And then when we make a swing change, we can instantly see the data change and say, okay, yeah, we're making a positive move towards what we want. We went from 5 degrees to 2 degrees. And then, if you look at how, if you're trying to figure out where the ball is going to start when it takes off the club face, 95% of where the ball starts is where the face is at. So it'll tell you face angle on here. So if the guy goes, why did that ball go right? And I say, well, let's look at your face angle. And let's say it's 5 degrees. Well, it's like, well, your club face is 5 degrees open. We need to get it closer to 1 degree open. Or 0 is not always ideal either in golf. Like you never really want to zero anything out. Believe it or not, trying to hit the straight ball all the time is actually harder than trying to curve it. So,
yeah, well, and I guess a good way to think about that on the business side is you're taking that data and you're actually recording those metrics and bringing in what in a golf swing on basically a micro level, right? A golf swing, you're taking those key performance indicators of all of those little data points, and then you're able to make those adjustments. And so from a business standpoint, being able to track those KPIs in your business and being able to make those adjustments, it's almost very similar to just adjusting a golf swing, right?
Yeah. Well, how I grew my business really was, let me back up. How I bought this TrackMan, like how do I afford to buy a $25,000 TrackMan? Well, number one, I couldn't get a loan for $25,000. So I worked at Lubbock Country Club for 6 years. I went to all the members and I said, hey, I want to buy this TrackMan, and I'm going to sell lessons. And I'm going to do a $500 minimum, meaning that you have to spend at least $500. Each lesson's worth $50. So anyways, long story short, I talked to all the members. I raised $10,000 before I even bought this thing. So when I was able to put $10,000 down on it, and so that's what made the biggest difference. And then the TrackMan itself set me aside from every instructor in Lubbock, because I was the first one in Lubbock to ever get a TrackMan.
Cool.
As far as an instructor. Now, Golf Headquarters had one but he did it for club fittings. But I was the first one to do that, and that helped set me aside because the TrackMan also allows me to do video analysis, so I can have a camera, where you are, and then a camera in front of me. And for a client to be able to see on video the before and after what they're doing now, we make the adjustment, and they see how it changed, and then be able to validate it with the club and ball data. They love that information. Like that's probably what set me aside the most, is I took that leap of faith, spent that money. That technology provided such good feedback to my clients that they love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can obviously see like having that analytical intelligence would make a huge difference. Does it make your job easier as well? I mean, obviously it makes your clients go, oh, wow, that's so cool. You can tell me the exact number of what I'm doing wrong. But does it give you a lot of intelligence to you as well?
Oh, yeah, it makes my job a lot easier. It makes it faster. There's some things you can't see with the naked eye. Like I can record with my iPhone, but the downside is with iPhone is I can only record this angle, and then I'll have to do a whole nother swing with this angle. So I'll have to, just to get both angles, have to capture 2 swings. Well, he could have hit the ball totally different in 2 swings. Where with TrackMan, I can set up 2 cameras that connect to the actual unit, and every time I hit a golf ball, or their client hits a golf ball, it auto records and it sends it to my phone, my iPad, or my computer, whatever device I'm using. And so every swing, I get a face on and down the line of video. And so I just have to stand there. I don't even, honestly, I mean, I look at their golf swing as they're hitting golf balls, but I don't pay too much attention to their swing. I look at the ball flight, and then I go look at my computer, my iPad for the actual swing video. Because it's hard to see when someone's swinging so fast, what's going on. And so, that's why you need slow motion video. And just the data it gives me so quick allows the lesson to go by quicker and allows me to get to the bottom of what's going on faster. I mean, obviously, I can teach without it. I don't think anybody needs to use it as a crutch. I mean, like, if I got to go teach somewhere where I can't take my TrackMan or my TrackMan dies, I mean, I got to be able to still make do without it. It just makes things faster and smoother. And it definitely gives me a little bit more data for fine-tuned information.
Very cool, man. Well, it's 12:21. Wade, are you ready for the lightning round? We didn't tell you we were going to do this. We got a lightning round. Yeah. So, Philip, you got the first question?
Oh, you got it.
All right.
Could you beat Rory McIlroy if he was playing lefty?
If he was playing lefty, it'd be close. It'd be close.
How many strokes do you think you'd want to give yourself?
Probably two or three. I think I saw what he scored. I think he scored in the 70s, or maybe it's the high 80s. That's pretty good. If I had to play left-handed, I'd shoot in the 90s. Don't worry. So.
You think you could shoot in the 90s though, and actually play lefty?
Oh man, I don't know. Probably.
I don't think I've ever swung a club on my offhand.
I can shoot below 100s right-handed. I
mean, it depends on what tees you make me play. If you make me play the tips, it'll probably be the 90s. But if I get to play from like Instees left-handed, I might can get away with it.
All right. Next question: Would you rather always two-putt or always hit the green in regulation?
Always hit the green in regulation.
All right. Well, then you don't get part two of the question, I guess, because it's if you always two-putt, you never make birdie, but you never three-putt. Well, maybe that's just a comment on that question.
There you go.
All right, you got the next one, Rob.
All right. So if you have 5 putts from 7 feet away, and every putt you make, you get $1 million, but every putt you miss, you go to prison for a year. Do you take the deal?
7 feet? No way. The percentages from 7 feet are not. If you would have given me 5 feet, I'd take the deal.
What about 6?
I mean, that's only 2 feet. Give me a month. Give me a month of practice, and I'll take that deal.
Nice.
Yeah, the statistics at 7 feet are not very good. Not for that risk reward.
Yeah. Yeah, I told Philip that you would say no, you're not taking the deal. I put a no risk bet out yesterday.
Hey, I would take the risk if it's at 4 to 5 feet, but not at 7.
Yeah. Well, and the other side is, even 1 year in jail, okay, you got or prison, you got a family, man. Like that's pretty risky, man.
Hey, I'll leave them with $1 million. They'll be all right.
Oh, there you go. All right, if you could play in a 2-man scramble with any golfer from any time period, who would you pick?
2 golfers? Okay, definitely number 1.
No, 2-man scramble. So you and one other golfer.
Oh, if I could choose anybody? Shoot.
Alive or dead? Anybody ever?
Well, I'd probably choose the GOAT, man.
The GOAT?
Tiger.
All right.
Tiger. Well, I'd like to play I'd like to, maybe Ben Bogey. I'd still choose Tiger if Ben Bogey though.
All right, that ends the lightning round.
Sweet.
We wanted to add in some fun questions for sure.
Those are good. I like those.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
If all of us are sitting here at home, and obviously some of us are golfers or quote unquote, what is some type of activities that we can do at the house, around the house with just our clubs or swinging in the yard, or what can we do that everyone can do to help improve their game while we're stuck at the house?
Well, this is a perfect time to go over the basic fundamentals of the game. Putting easy. If you have if you have tile, if you have, somewhere or hardwood floor, like for example, this is at Home Depot. You can get this at Home Depot. This is a 3/4 inch half flat bar aluminum. So what you can do is you can set this on the ground. I don't know if you can see this or not. I may just have to.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, we can see
it. So you can put the ball on this, like this, and you can take your putter, and as long as you can roll it off the very end of that thing, you can start the ball in line. Because to be good at putting, you got to do two things really. You got to have good speed, which is number one, and then you got to start the ball in line. Now there's a couple other things to that, but those are the basic two fundamentals. Have good speed, start the ball in line. So here, you can sit here. I don't have a putter right here, but you can sit here and try to roll this off the end. But see how that went left? So that means my face was closed left, right? So you can sit there and work on starting line, making sure you can start the ball in line, so you can build that confidence. Swing wise, I mean, even if you have foam balls or whatever, you don't even have to hit a real golf ball. But a lot of people, when they get sedentary, they lose their ability to rotate through the golf swing. So like they don't rotate around in a circle very much. It becomes more of just an arm swing. And so a lot of guys, what they can do is just get the body rotating by hitting little short shots, in their house into I've been seeing people all over Instagram just taking blankets and hanging blankets up, and they're hitting golf balls into blankets. It works, right? They have a little mat, and as long as people can hit little short shots like this and get the body rotating and not be so arms, those are good little fundamentals you can start to develop. Chipping drills, which I'm about to start posting a bunch of drills as soon as I get my yard fixed up a little bit better. But you can do a chipping drill, which is like a ladder drill, where you can set some cones or beer cans, whatever you want to do. Set them in like a little ladder, and you're going to try to land each ball in between the two cans, cones, whatever. And so you can work on your distance control with your wedges. There's so many little fundamental things you can work on from home, like hitting landing spots with chipping, putting, starting the ball in line, swing, getting the body moving, working on swing mechanic stuff when you can't hit a golf ball, because most people get impatient when they're working on a swing mechanic and they don't sit there and work on it long enough till it becomes a habit. Because really, golf is just a bunch of habits built up over time. That's all the golf swing is. You can develop the right habits, you're good to go. But a lot of people don't stick with something long enough until it's a habit.
What is the surface that you've got under you right now? Like, cause I'm thinking, hey, I'd love to do some chips into like a blanket, like you're talking about. But what would I hit off?
You can hit off even if you have like a little rug, that would work. That's a pretty tight lie. This is an actual golf mat that we got from Core Golf. You can buy these. You can buy these at Academy. Maybe not. You can't buy this exact one. This is a little bit more high quality, but you can buy cheap mats from.
Okay.
On Amazon. You can buy them on. You can go to Academy and get them. Just if you have grass, chip off your grass. I know the grass is just now starting to grow, but if you have grass, you can chip off grass. That's pretty much it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like the setup you've got there. It is.
No, I'm pretty blessed, man, to have.
I can see Philip's gears are turning.
Yeah, I'm sitting there going, man. I want to move next door to you.
Yeah. Our neighbors come over and they hear me hitting golf balls all the time over here. So
that is an awesome setup.
Yeah, well, I hit my garage door yesterday. I forgot. I have to roll this down a little bit because the garage door comes down a little bit. I hit it. I had a little dent in my garage because I hit it on my forward swing. But anyways, it's really the only club I can really hit. I can hit from probably a 6-iron down, like 6-iron down to like my short irons. I can't hit anything longer than that. I might hit these 2x4s up here. So
yeah,
I thought about raising the ceiling. That'd be expensive.
Yeah, that's so.
Yeah.
So what would you tell if someone wants to get into golf, or what do you generally tell them? Like, how does someone, if they come to you and say, man, I can shoot like 100, 105, I'm not very good. How do I start moving my game forward?
Well, kind of like two questions there. So if somebody's just getting into golf, what I would tell them is you need to start hitting balls and develop the hand-eye coordination, because you're taking a little tiny golf ball with a little tiny club face and you're trying to hit it in the middle, right? You're trying to make contact. And so first thing I would say, just go out and hit a lot of golf balls, and then go get some instruction. I think at the beginning, I mean, it depends on how you want to do it. You can either take one lesson a week or one a month. One's better than nothing, right? So as long as you start to get some of the fundamentals, like the biggest thing I teach everybody is a basic grip. It doesn't have to be a perfect grip, but there's some things you need to do to grip it, to be somewhere in the ballpark. And then posture, because a lot of golfers get back pain if you have bad posture. So I would say those are two things to get started with somebody just getting into the game. Just so they can protect their back and so they have somewhere to get started. They just need to hit a lot of balls. Now, if you got a guy that's already playing, that's shooting in the high 100s, that's when you start breaking down fundamentals. Because when people shoot in the hundreds, they don't have very, very good fundamentals. So they need to get a good putting fundamentals. They need to get good chipping fundamentals, swing fundamentals, just the basic stuff. And as soon as they get to where they can shoot to the low 90s, high 80s, that's when fundamentals are starting to get somewhat set in. And then to get down to the low 80s, they need to start eliminating some of the bigger mistakes they have. Like they hit lots of decent shots, but it's those big mistakes that cause their score to go up. And so we started eliminating some of the big mistakes. I have a client, his name is Brett Riley. I did a playing lesson with him yesterday. And the one thing we're working on with him is eliminating double bogeys. So he's trying to break 80 every single time. So he's been shooting 80, 81, and he's sick and tired of that, and he wants to break 80 and shoot in the mid 70s, low 70s. Well, every time I look at a scorecard of his, he has at least 1 to 2 double bogeys around. And I said, well, we got to take your double bogey percentage, and we got to drop it way down. So right now he's probably 15 to 20% of the time he double bogeys. And so we want to get that down to 3% or maybe even 2%. And so what does that look like? Well, that's a double bogey every 2 to 3 rounds, not 2 to 3 a round. That's every 2 to 3 rounds he has one. So he'll go 2 rounds without having a double, and then he'll have one. But see, that's what he's got on. He's already got all of his fundamentals down. But to go to that next scoring level, he's got to eliminate those big mistakes that he has.
Tell us a little bit about the outside of the golf stuff that you do. I know that you kind of do some calisthenics and some exercise and stuff, and it's mainly to helps stabilize and help kind of get those golfers kind of into shape where they need to be, right?
Yep. So I have a couple of different options as far as fitness for a lot of my juniors. Most obviously adults need to do it too, but I wish more adults would do it. They actually probably need more, just because as we get older we get stiffer. But my juniors looking to play college golf. Golf is now, and it's always really been, but golf is now not just about skill anymore. It's also becoming somewhat about physical ability. Like, for example, I can never play in the NBA. I'm 5'7", it's not going to happen, right? Physically, I'm not going to be able to do that. But now golf is becoming where if you don't get strong and big and fast and hit the ball far, you're going to have a hard time competing. For example, if my club head speed's 120 miles an hour, and then I play, let's say I play you, Cory, and yours is, let's say it's 95 miles an hour. Well, let's just say we did play for the same tees. Well, I'm going to outdrive you by 40 yards. Well, that's 4 clubs less into every green. Now, if you take that more relative to what juniors are doing, if I take a junior that's swinging at 120 and then a junior that's swinging at 108, that doesn't seem like a big difference, but that's probably 20 to 25 yards difference off the tee. And so just from there, the player swinging at 120 has 2 clubs less into the green. So it's important that these kids work out, get strong so they can hit the ball far. So I have 2 options. I actually have a guy that does some of my fitness. He's the manager of the personal trainers at Crunch. So he works directly with me. And then I have somebody in California that's a little bit more specialized. The guy that runs the company, his name is Lance Gill. He runs Lance Gill Performance. And so they do online fitness stuff. Now, some of my kids like online, some of the kids don't, right? I would always send them to my guy in California because he actually works with PGA Tour players. He actually works with golfers. That's what he does for a living. So he's the master professional when it comes to golf fitness. However, I have some kids that it's sad to say that are not quite disciplined enough to do it on their own without having a coach there helping them. And so we have that second option for those kids that want somebody in person.
Absolutely. And I think that's vital, again, looking at data and saying, hey, look, Here's what the data shows. Even in strength and conditioning for golfers, you're gonna outshoot Cory by 40 yards because you are toned and ready for this and in a good shape, right? So
Yeah. But an example, JJ Colleen, he's actually trying to get back on court. His club head speed's around 116 to as high as 120. Mine's about 106 to 108. He outdrives me by probably 30 yards. And so every hole, he's 3 clubs less than every hole. So that would be like me I'm hitting a 7-iron, and he's hitting a 9-iron, right?
yeah,
So he's going to put the 9-iron closer to the hole and on the green more often than I'm going to put my 7. And so he's just going to score better. And so an example, we went and played, and he shot probably the easiest 63 at Rawls I've ever seen. He shot 29 on the front, and then he had 7 straight pars on the back, and then he went birdie on 17 and 18. So, but like on number 1 at Rawls, he hit all the way to the green. He had a little chip shot for birdie. I mean, my shot wasn't hard either, but I was about 60 yards. But I would rather be where he was. He's only 10 yards off the green and hit it to like 2 feet. I was at 60 yards and hit it to like probably 10 or 12 feet, which is still a good shot. But obviously, he's going to make birdie more often doing that. So that's why it's important that these kids have to get strong. And honestly, you have to work out just to keep up now. It's not even just like to get ahead; it's to stay caught up. See, when Tiger got into the game, I mean, he was the strongest. He's one of the longest hitters, and so that's why he dominated. Now he's not the longest hitter, not even close.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where it's almost has to be holistic, right? So you have to train the technique, but you also have to train to get in shape and to especially with those balance issues and things like that. All of that plays into your game.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see, what else do we got for you? Let's see if we got any questions from the. I don't know if we do or not. Got a couple different places we can check for these watch parties and things like that. What else do you have, Philip?
Well, so I'm curious, how far do you generally drive?
I usually hit it. So I probably carry the ball closer to 270, and it rolls out anywhere between 290 to 300.
Wow.
So, and that seems far. And maybe that's probably pretty far from my height. But JJ, he carries the ball here in Lubbock. He probably carries it 300 to 310, and rolls out anywhere to 330 to 340.
That is
so
insane.
That gives you any example of how far he hits it. And JJ, he's 6'11", or not 6'11", 5'11", or he's 6 foot. So he's pretty tall. He might even be, I don't know, he might be 6'1", believe it or not. Anyways, he's a pretty big guy. And so, but he's got a crazy amount of club head speed. And so, he's played on the PGA Tour. He's been with those guys, and he knows now that the average club head speed's going up. And so, if I wanted to go out there and play professionally, which I've always kind of thought about it, but it's just never been reality, I would have to get my club head speed up to at a minimum of 114 miles an hour.
How do you actually do that? How do you speed up your club head speed? I mean, obviously, do you just run into it and swing harder, or?
Well, you want to increase your club head speed without. Let me say it this way: most golfers swing at about 85 to 90% or 80%. Let me say it that way: 80% is probably a good number. 80% of their max speed. You want to take if your 80% produces a club head speed of 110 miles an hour. You want to, with training, you want to still swing at 80%, but now your 80% swings at 114 miles an hour. We don't want to swing 90% to 100% because that's when we start losing accuracy, right? Because the harder you swing, the harder it is to control the club face and control your swing. So yeah, every tour pro and even me, I could take my club head speed from 108 to 112 if I swing hard, but I don't know where the ball's going. But what I want to do is I want to take that 108 club head speed at 80% power and move it to 112 club head speed, still at 80% power. So how you do that is sometimes it can be technique. There's a lot of things people do in their golf swings that are what we call speed leaks. So whether or not they don't have enough hinge at the top of their swing, they don't have enough power to let this go. Maybe they're not using the lower body right. Maybe they're not shifting their weight properly. So there's some technique stuff. Second is power. So what is power? Power is strength and speed. So if you want to gain more power in your golf swing, you got to add strength first, then you add the speed component, and those two things create power. So then you do what we call power training, or what you hear is like powerlifting. So for example, if you're going to do a snatch, which a lot of people know what a snatch is, it's where you grab the bar from the ground and then you pull it up and you snatch it over your head. You see a lot of CrossFitters do that. You're starting to see a lot of golfers do this too. But to create a good snatch, you have to be able to lift that weight. So you got to have the strength, and then you got to have the speed to pull up that bar. And those two things create power to be able to pop that bar over your head. So in golf, there's three things that we look at to create power. We need vertical jump. So how high can the golfer jump? PGA Tour average is 21 inches. NBA average is probably closer to like 30, 32. Zion Williams is like 40, 41. So that gives you a comparison between athletes. 21, 22, and I think that number is going to go higher. So even in our juniors, though, I haven't had a junior yet that has jumped to 21. So it goes to show you how high or how much training they need to do to get to where they can jump 21 inches. Other thing we do is what we call is a press pass, where you sit on a chair and men take an 8-pound medicine ball and they just push it. So push power. And so we see how far they can throw it. So that's 21 feet is PGA Tour average. And then we do another test is a sit up and throw. You lay on your back and you throw a ball over your head and in front of you. That tests core power. So again, it's 21 feet. So that's PGA Tour average. So again, we don't see those good of numbers in a lot of our high school athletes. So that's why they got to get in the gym so they can hit those numbers. At least get to the PGA Tour average by the time they graduate high school. And then I think they should exceed that. I think golfers should get to where they're in the mid to high 20s on pretty much everything. So, but those are the components we look for as far as creating power. But the true determining factor is ball speed. Like you can have 120 mile an hour club head speed, but if you don't hit the ball in the middle of the club face, you're not going to produce the right amount of ball speed.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And
there's a lot to it, man. You can look at equipment to hit the ball further. A lot of times people have really bad equipment. I mean, you can spend up to $2,000 on a driver, which I think might be a little excessive, but equipment can help, fitness can help, technique can help. There's a lot of little things you can look for to gain power off the tee.
You see a lot of people obviously spend an astronomical amount of money on golf equipment. How much do you think that really makes a difference?
It does make a difference. Obviously, it's got to fit your game. If the driver, for example, if a driver's too long or too short, or let's just say your irons are too long or too short, I see that a lot, especially with juniors. Irons are too long, or sometimes they get too short because they don't buy a new set. That makes a big difference. If the weight of the shaft is too heavy, too light, that makes a difference. It's not so much about how much money you spend necessarily. Like, you just need to make sure you have a set. Most important things is that the weight of the shaft fits you, the flex of the shaft fits you, and the length of the shaft is correct. Besides that, when you look at a club head like this, right, this is what we call a blade iron. It's got a very thin top line right here. This is what a lot of tour players use. I like it, but the sweet spot is really, really small. So if I hit this over here, I'm going to lose a lot of distance. So making sure you have the right type of equipment. Like if you're a guy shooting in the 90s, you don't need this club. It's way too hard to hit. But if you're a good player, if you're a player that's like around scratch that shoots around even par, or 75 in the low 70s, and then you can use a club like this, because that means your game's good enough to be able to hit a club like this. So making sure you have the right equipment. You can spend. There's a company called PXG, and they're exceptionally more expensive than every other company out there. A set of irons will cost you about $3,200. Just the iron. So a full bag, the bag, the clubs, the irons, the wedges. If I remember right. That comes with a stock shaft. But so if you buy an upcharge shaft, like let's say a Hazard yellow shaft, you don't have to know what that is, but that's and what they call it handcrafted. So if it's handcrafted, that means the shaft is actually hand rolled instead of made in a factory. So you have one guy making sure that it's rolled properly, the shaft is made properly. So it costs more. So it's a $300 upcharge just for that shaft. So the quality control is way better on those shafts. So you have a better idea of what you're getting if you pay a little bit more for a shaft that's been handcrafted versus it being made in a factory. So that's where you can spend a little more money to get a little bit better quality shaft. I think that's worth it if you have the money to spend.
Well, cool, man. Tell us a little bit about, let's switch gears a little bit and tell us a little bit about how you market your business and how maybe things have changed over the last few weeks as this virus has come out. We definitely want to start giving some tips to the business owners that are watching out there, and try to figure out how that shift is working for you, and if there's different things that you're doing now than you were before, or if it's the same.
Okay. Yeah. So as far as marketing, I've never had to do just a ton of it, mainly because when I started my business, I was at a really good location. I worked at Lubbock Country Club. I knew a lot of the members, but I guess the marketing that I did was knowing people and knowing who they are, building that relationship with them. And they followed me over to Fort Golf, and I kept that clientele. And then the key to being a good golf instructor, and I think the key to business is you have to be really good with people. You have to know who they are. You have to follow up with them. You have to be able to communicate well with them. And that's how you get your referrals, right? And so I would say probably 90% of my business is referral based, right? Or word of mouth. So if you can get people to talk about you because, you do a good job. Also, there's a time to give away stuff too. So I've given away lessons just so that they come see me just to get them started. I've given them big discounts. Doing stuff like that for your clients so that they will go out and talk. Now, I have done some social media stuff. My Instagram has about 5,500 followers on it. I had a company help me grow that. That helped a little bit. I got a little bit of business out of social media, and I do think social media works if that's how you need to gain clients. But the biggest thing is being personal with people, knowing who they are. Everybody's probably heard this. It sounds more like a cliche, but that book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you haven't read
Absolutely.
that book and you're a business owner, you're crazy. You got to read that book. That book will teach you more about how to win friends and influence people. I mean, literally the title of the book.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great book, and I think, if you haven't read it, you're definitely hurting. I think having that resource and having those books around, and I mean that's what they're there for. So tell us a little bit about how you shifted, because the last time we even talked in person, we were still up at the academy, and so how have your transition to 100% online right now, right?
I still have some clients I meet with. We'll go on the golf course. Thank the Lord, golf courses are still open. Some people don't want to. Yeah, it is essential. People are gonna go crazy. So, but no. So I'm still doing some in-person lessons. Obviously, we keep our distance. I don't have to touch anybody in my business. I can, but I don't have to. I can teach kind of from a distance and whatnot. And so when we do playing lessons, we ride in separate carts, and really I can talk to them and see what they're doing from a distance. So. How my business has shifted is it's becoming a lot more online. Obviously, I've lost some clientele from this. It's just part of it. Just got to deal with it. But how it's shifted is, I'm going to try to get an online presence. That's what I've been doing. I've been doing a pretty good job. And I'm going to let people know who I am. And I'm going to be around because this will pass. It will come. Everything will come back. And if I just go away and I hide away without letting people know what I'm doing and not sharing my passion, then people are going to forget about me. And I don't want that to happen either. So at this time, I need to push more social media stuff, more content. I mean, if I can get my schedule figured out with my wife and son a little better, then my goal is to post 2 to 3. I'd like to maybe 4 to 5 posts on Instagram a day. Just stay in people's ears, send them that content, encourage them to do something online, so that, I had a guy message me today. I did an online lesson for him. He said, hey, when all this is over, I'm going to come see you. So there you go. There's a client right there that'll most likely come back and see me just because I did an online lesson. So, and he may never came to see me before then, but because I've been doing it online, I'm going to gain some business when all this is over. So when things are down, you got to push. And like in this day and age, it's so easy to push content out there now. It's unbelievable. I can share hundreds of bits of information, and just got to keep growing.
Absolutely.
What type of content do you post?
So
and is it just like a picture, or what are you posting?
Pictures are worthless. Well, I say they're worthless. It's hard to tell if a picture does well because people are so bad at Instagram of not liking things. So if they see it but they don't like it or comment, you don't know if that was worth it or not, right? So pictures are harder, not impossible. I think there's a time and a place for it. Like I posted a picture of some golf balls on the ground that said $5 lessons. Like I think those things are okay, but content, valuable content. Like I think a lot of business owners with their social media, here's where they mess up. They keep posting ads way too often of things they want them to buy. They're not giving them any value. So for example, what I do with my social media is I give them value. I give them a swing tip. I let them see me to teach an online lesson. I give them a cool, what I call an eye candy video. I mean, if you've ever been on Instagram, and if you know anything about golf, there's a shot called the stinger, which a stinger is just a really low shot. It looks really cool on a down the line view, looking at the golf ball fly away really low. And so there's a lot of guys that done this, but if you take a camera way down low and you record, me hitting the golf ball, you can see the golf ball fly and take off the golf club. And those are what I call eye candy videos because it catches their eye. They think that's cool, and then they move on. So people like that, it keeps them engaged when you hit these cool little trick shots or whatever. I think content like that is valuable because it's entertaining. And then you provide informational content like about, how to, like I did a video recently on how to release the golf club, how to actually release it through the hit zone. So we were doing a little drill, working on releasing it. I had this little training aid right here, and we were working on a drill. But see, that kind of content provides value to the client. And then every now and then I throw in, say, hey, I'm doing 30% off on golf lessons, or I'm doing, or come take a golf lesson, right? Or I finally say, hey, I'm giving you this content. Now I'm going to throw you a bone and say, hey, do something with all this instruction and actually come get some personal instruction. But I think too many people keep just throwing like, hey, buy this, do this, and there's not enough value provided to the client to make them stay engaged.
Yeah.
But some businesses, there's just nothing else better to do. Like there's nothing they can do. Like for golf itself is hard because what can they provide value-wise? There's not much. Everything they post has to be an ad. So they're not going to get a lot of followers. But like a brand like me, I want to get a lot of followers so I have a lot of people to sell stuff to. But to do that, I have to provide them value. I can't just keep throwing them ads, say, hey, come get a golf lesson. I can't just literally say every post, come get a golf lesson, right? I got to provide them value, get them excited about what I do. And then every now and then throw in those little ads, say, hey, don't forget to come get a lesson or purchase X, Y, Z.
I think that's a very important kind of topic right there, and the kind of a poignant fact is right now everybody's kind of shifting into let's post more content. I mean, I know Philip and we started this podcast for that very reason, just to put one, more content out there, and two, put some valuable insight into businesses. And the fact that you're thinking that way is just another validation of this podcast and saying, hey, look, this is what businesses should be doing right now. They should be providing value to their potential clients or their clients while they're at home, and while sometimes there's nothing to sell right now, but you need to provide that value to them.
Well, I think it's just like the free samples at the grocery store, if you want to think about it like that. And you can kind of say like what your social media needs to be doing is giving free samples. Because, I don't know about everybody else, but if I see free samples out at the grocery store, I promise you I'm going to try it. And I kind of think, you're basically providing a free sample of your golfing lessons. And the other day I posted something that's simple. Everybody's wiping stuff down, trying to disinfect things. If you put alcohol onto a computer monitor, bad things can happen in certain circumstances.
Yeah, I saw
So
that post.
I posted, hey, make sure you do not wipe it down with alcohol products, or ammonia based as well. Trying to give people just some valuable advice, because I do think that, at least me scrolling through social media, when I see businesses that do that, I definitely actually pay attention a little bit more than just hey, buy this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
if they keep posting that, I'd struggle. Yeah.
I was going to say, we've got a couple minutes left. I just wanted to ask you one big final question. The community watching today and in the future, because this is live on Facebook and it's going to stay up for a while, what can they do to help you and your business and the people around you?
I mean, really, just take care of your family first, obviously. But definitely when all this blows over, come back and see us. I mean, we're going to be around, right? I mean, obviously, income's a little bit lower at this time because people got to do what they got to do to get it. Support me online. Just follow me, engage with my content. The biggest thing that I ask people to do is just engage. That's what helps me grow. How you grow on social media is two simple things. You got to get likes and comments. I mean, that it's really that simple. So if you see something you like, please don't just watch it without giving it a like, and leave me a comment, even if it's just like a smiley face. Just leave something that helps me a lot. To be able to get more recognition to everybody else. But besides that, just keep watching my content. Let me know if there's anything specific you want to see. I can feature you on my channel as well. Like I said, we'll be around.
Absolutely, and you can find Wade Fullingim Golf. It's WADEFUL. It's 2 L's. LLINGIM Golf. On Facebook, you can find him on Facebook there, and then it's just WF Golf on Instagram. So you can find him on Instagram at WF Golf.
That's my main platform. Follow me anywhere. It's definitely Instagram.
Yeah, and his Instagram is killer. You got to follow it. It's pretty cool. So get on there, give him some likes, give him some comments, give him some shares. Philip, we've got a new podcast out next Tuesday as well. We've got Dylan Moore from Pecan Ridge, and then Thursday is Kayla Sprayberry of Hub Funding Solutions. Excuse me, I'm sorry, Hub Funding Solutions on Thursday. She's going to talk to us about the SBA loans and all of the financial stuff. We're gonna really have a great time with Dylan on Tuesday, and then Kayla on Thursday, getting a lot of valuable information for your business out there. Philip, want to close this out?
Yeah, that's just about everything. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we really enjoyed having you, Wade, and appreciate you spending your time with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, guys.
See ya.